Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood, and today we're going to be learning all about ski jumping. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. In the early days of the sport, ski jumpers looked to the birds for strategies to help them fly farther. Instead of the still aerodynamic stance we see today, early ski jumpers would flap their arms in the hopes of creating enough upward force to stay in the air an extra second or two. What do you think? Did ski jumpers actually use a birdman technique, flapping their arms to help them fly? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is telemark. That's Telemark. In the world of ski jumping, a telemark landing is the gold standard for style and safety. It involves landing with one ski slightly in front of the other, knees bent, and the back heel lifted, creating a stable and graceful lunging position that helps absorb the impact of the jump. The word comes from the Telemark region of Norway, which is widely considered the birthplace of modern skiing. In the mid-1800s, a pioneer named Sondre Norheim popularized this specific turning and landing technique. Because the people of Telemark were so skilled at navigating their mountainous terrain with this fluid motion, the name of their home became synonymous with the elegant style that judges still look for in competitions today. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about ski jumping. Number 1. The first recorded ski jump in history was just a dare by a Norwegian lieutenant to prove his courage. Back in 1808, an officer named Olaf Rye launched himself through the air in front of his fellow soldiers. He managed to jump about 31 feet or 9.5 meters. That might not sound like much compared to today's records, but keep in mind he was doing this on heavy wooden skis with very basic bindings and absolutely zero safety gear. I have to imagine he had fun though, and it probably looked pretty cool because other people began taking his lead. The stunt helped transform skiing from a simple way to travel across the snow into a competitive sport. Over the next few decades, it moved from military displays to community festivals in Norway. By the late 1800s, the sport had become so popular that it spread across Europe and even to the United States, eventually becoming one of the original events in the first Winter Olympics in 1924. Number 2. For a ski jumper, the skis aren't just about gliding over the snow. They view their skis almost as wings that help them fly. A ski jumper's time in the air isn't your average fall. They're actually gliding like a bird or a paper airplane. By leaning forward and holding their body almost parallel to their skis, they create a large surface area that catches the air. This generates lift, the same physical force that helps massive airplanes stay off the ground, allowing the athletes to stay airborne for sometimes up to 10 seconds. So to understand how this glide works, let's start with an airplane wing. It's curved on top and flat on the bottom. As the wing moves, air travels faster over the top than the bottom. This creates a difference in pressure. It's higher pressure below and lower pressure above, so it pushes the plane upward. The ski jumper mimics this by tilting their skis and body at a specific angle called the angle of attack. By catching the rushing air against the bottom of their skis and their flat chest, they create a cushion of high-pressure air underneath them that fights against gravity and keeps them soaring. To maximize the lift, jumpers use a specific technique called the V style, where they point the tips of their skis outward in a V shape. This actually was a huge discovery in the 1980s. Scientists found that this position provided about 30% more lift than the old method of keeping the skis parallel. Although judges actually initially didn't like it and took off points for the messy look, that V shape became the standard over time because it allowed for much longer and safer flights. Number 3. While ski jumpers generally want to go as far as they can, going too far, catching too much wind, can actually be dangerous. In most sports, athletes want to go as fast and as far as possible, but ski jumping is a delicate balance. If there's a strong headwind, it could create some extra lift, which can carry the jumper way past the K point or the safe landing zone. If they land on the flat ground at the bottom of the hill instead of the slope, the impact could be very dangerous for their legs. To keep things safe and fair, officials use a complex wind compensation system. They have sensors along the hill to measure the wind speed for every single athlete. If a jumper gets a lucky gust of wind that helps them fly a little farther, the judges will actually subtract a few points from their score so that the winner is the person with the best skill, not just the best breeze. Number 4. Ski jumping is not just for the winter. You can actually ski jump in the summer thanks to special plastic grass mats. Many people think ski jumping is strictly a winter sport, but professional athletes have to train all year round. Instead of snow, summer hills are covered in a special green plastic matting that's kept slippery with a constant spray of water. The in-run, the ramp they slide down, often uses ceramic tracks that mimic the feel of ice, allowing the skis to glide at high speeds even when it's 80 degrees outside. This summer version of the sport is so popular, there's an entire Grand Prix circuit dedicated to it. Jumping on plastic feels very similar to jumping on snow, but it's actually a bit more consistent because athletes don't have to worry about the snow melting or getting mushy. This allows jumpers to perfect their form for hundreds of hours before the first winter snowflake ever hits the ground. And our 5th and final fun fact for today. While ski jumpers can go quite far, the landing hill is designed so that jumpers are rarely more than 10 to 15 feet above the ground. If you watch a jump from the side, you'll notice that the curve of the landing hill almost perfectly matches the curve of the jumper's flight path. This is called a parabolic arc. Because the ground drops away at the same rate the jumper falls, the athlete is never actually falling from a giant height onto a flat surface. They're essentially meeting the ground at a gentle angle. And that's not an accident. It's a clever bit of engineering that converts the downward energy of the fall into forward momentum. It allows jumpers to land comfortably even at speeds over 60 miles an hour as they simply glide down the hill rather than thudding onto the flat ground. Now for some news you can use. When you watch a ski jumper sliding down the ramp, you might notice they're crouched and leaning forward. It almost looks like they're sitting on an invisible chair as they slide down, but they're not relaxing. Holding this deep squat while sliding 60 miles an hour downhill requires incredible core strength. You can improve your strength and balance by using a similar technique minus the ramp. Try holding a wall sit. By leaning your back against the wall and lowering yourself until your knees are at a 90-degree angle, you train your core and leg muscles to handle high pressure without shaking. Wall sits are a great example of isometric exercise, building strength by maintaining muscle tension without moving. For ski jumpers, this stability is what keeps their skis from wobbling during the most dangerous parts of the jump. For you, it means better posture and stronger legs for hiking, running, or staying steady on slippery surfaces. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked, did early ski jumpers really use a birdman technique, flapping their arms to help them fly? Oddly enough, that's a fact. In the early 20th century, before we understood modern aerodynamics, many jumpers used the kongsgard technique. This involves rotating or flapping their arms in large circles while in the air. Jumpers believed this motion helped them maintain balance and gave them a little extra oomph to stay aloft, much like a bird flapping its wings. It wasn't until the 1950s that researchers realized staying perfectly still and leaning forward was much more effective. By keeping the body still and quiet, jumpers reduced drag and could glide further. While that birdman flapping technique might have looked dramatic to the audience and given the athlete some illusion of control of their flight, it actually slowed them down in the end. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about ski jumping with me today, and be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.